In the previous episode, I discussed how God of War 2 was altered for its Japanese release, including details about its sales figures, regional title, and other trivia. Initially, I considered doing a follow-up with God of War 3, but since that topic has already been extensively covered, I decided to pivot to something fresh, Dante's Inferno. Surprisingly, many don't know that Dante's Inferno made its way to Japan. Dante's Inferno was released in Japan on February 18, 2010 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 under the title Dante's Inferno Shinkyaku Jiko Kohen, which translates to Dante's Inferno Divine Comedy Hell Chapter. A month later, the PSP version followed. This shouldn't come as a surprise, as EA frequently published their high-profile games in Japan, including titles like Medal of Honor, James Bond, and Battlefield. While I couldn't find detailed information about how the game was marketed in Japan, I did come across a cool print ad featuring the infamous tagline "Go to Hell" and a blog post on 4Gamer showcasing the official Japanese website for the game. I also spent a few days researching the game's sales in Japan. Unfortunately, compared to God of War 3, Dante's Inferno couldn't even reach a fraction of its sales, even when combining figures from all three platforms. Interestingly, much like God of War, Dante's Inferno has developed a cult following in Japan over the years. Dante's Inferno underwent 11 regional changes for its Japanese release. The first and most notable alteration involves the censorship of Beatrice's body. In the original version, the first cutscene shows Dante returning to find Beatrice dead, with one of her breasts exposed. In the Japanese release, this is either hidden or slightly altered. Similarly, when Dante reaches the church to obtain the cross, her nipples are entirely removed. Another major change occurs in the same cutscene where Dante discovers his father, Alighiero, dead with a cross shoved into his eye. While this is visible in the original version, it's completely hidden in the Japanese release. Additionally, the scene where Alighiero confronts the Avenger is modified. In the original version, we see Alighiero getting stabbed by the Avenger. However, in the Japanese version, the stabbing is removed and replaced with a quick pause on his hand.
You dare enter my home!
As mentioned earlier, nudity in the game is censored, but surprisingly, Cleopatra and her minions remained untouched. Other instances of censorship occur during the Gluttony chapter. In a flashback of Dante's father drinking blood, the original version shows multiple women pouring blood into Alighiero's mouth. In the Japanese version, this is reduced to one woman. Additionally, during Dante's flashback of his affair with a slave girl, her bare chest is visible in the original release but covered in the Japanese version. These are the changes I'm aware of. Now let's check the parts that were left untouched. As I mentioned earlier, Cleopatra and her minions were left uncensored, but what caught my attention was how Minos' death remained unchanged, despite its brutality. The Japanese release of Dante's Inferno featured a stellar lineup of renowned Japanese voice actors. Dante was voiced by Masashi Ibara, best known for his role as Guy Sensei in Naruto. Virgil was voiced by Hiroki Ichikawa, who also voiced Kronos in the Japanese release of God of War 2. And lastly, Death was brought to life by Hidenari Ogaki, the same voice behind Goro Majima in the Yakuza series. And that wraps up this video. Hopefully you found this as fascinating as I did. That's all for now. Goodbye.